It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. At his best, man is the noblest of all animals. Separated from law and justice, he is the worst. He who is unable to live in society, or who has no need because he is sufficient for himself, must be either a beast or a god. I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who conquers his enemies, for the hardest victory is over self. You will never do anything in this world without courage. It is the greatest quality of the mind next to honor. Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees the others. The state comes into existence for the sake of life and continues to exist for the sake of good life. Mothers are fonder than fathers of their children because they are more certain they are their own. Moral excellence comes about as a result of habit. We become just by doing just acts, temperate by doing temperate acts, brave by doing brave acts. Even when laws have been written down, they ought not always to remain unaltered. Suffering becomes beautiful when anyone bears great calamities with cheerfulness, not through insensibility but through greatness of mind. The most perfect political community is one in which the middle class is in control, and outnumbers both of the other classes. The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. Republics decline into democracies and democracies degenerate into despotisms. The ultimate value of life depends upon awareness and the power of contemplation rather than upon mere survival. The ideal man bears the accidents of life with dignity and grace, making the best of circumstances. Those who educate children well are more to be honored than they who produce them, for these only gave them life, those the art of living well. Democracy is when the indigent, and not the men of property, are the rulers. To run away from trouble is a form of cowardice and, while it is true that the suicide braves death, he does it not for some noble object but to escape some ill. Wishing to be friends is quick work, but friendship is a slow ripening fruit. All human actions have one or more of these 7 causes: chance, nature, compulsions, habit, reason, passion, desire. I have gained this from philosophy, that I do without being commanded what others do only from fear of the law. If one way be better than another, that you may be sure is nature's way. In a democracy the poor will have more power than the rich, because there are more of them, and the will of the majority is supreme. Perfect friendship is the friendship of men who are good, and alike in excellence, for these wish well alike to each other qua good, and they are good in themselves. A tragedy is a representation of an action that is whole and complete and of a certain magnitude. A whole is what has a beginning and middle and end. Men create gods after their own image, not only with regard to their form but with regard to their mode of life. We must no more ask whether the soul and body are one than ask whether the wax and the figure impressed on it are one. For one swallow does not make a summer, nor does one day, and so too one day, or a short time, does not make a man blessed and happy. Rhetoric may be defined as the faculty of observing in any given case the available means of persuasion. This is not a function of any other art. A statement is persuasive and credible either because it is directly self-evident or because it appears to be proved from other statements that are so. We become just by performing just action, temperate by performing temperate actions, brave by performing brave action. Politicians also have no leisure, because they are always aiming at something beyond political life itself, power and glory, or happiness. Bring your desires down to your present means. Increase them only when your increased means permit. Without friends no one would choose to live, though he had all other goods. Poetry is finer and more philosophical than history, for poetry expresses the universal, and history only the particular. It is not once nor twice but times without number that the same ideas make their appearance in the world. It is clearly better that property should be private, but the use of it common, and the special business of the legislator is to create in men this benevolent disposition. Those who excel in virtue have the best right of all to rebel, but then they are of all men the least inclined to do so.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe us, motivate brain.